A very good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Uduak Daniel. First, let's talk the headlines. And on the headlines, Court of Appeal holds workshop for election petition tribunal. Still on the headlines, Senegal bans night buses after deadly accident. Also on the headlines, Gabon names first ever female VP. And on sport, Flying Eagles camp in Morocco for Under-20 AFCON tournament. And now the news in detail. The Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has said no terrorist group will destabilize Nigeria again, as he urged citizens to develop strong confidence in the country and its security institutions. Speaking at the palace of the traditional monarch of Yobe State, Emir of Damaturu Hashimi II El Kanemi, the president said the government would continue to protect the right of every Nigerian child to education, particularly the child displaced from their homes by Boko Haram. Expressing delight at the return of peace and normalcy in Yobe State and northeast Nigeria, the president thanked Yobe's governor Mai Mala Buni and his Borno State counterpart Babagana Zulum for their persistence in reconstructing schools, health centers, and institutions destroyed by the misguided terrorists. The president noted that there was a deliberate attempt to destroy Nigeria, but God did not permit it, adding that God has helped Nigeria to bounce back. He also commended members of the armed forces and the police for their sacrifices in protecting the country. Governor Bani told the president that in the heat of the battle against insurgency, the palace of the Emir of Damaturu was overrun by terrorists. The Emir also thanked the president for improved security in the country, saying the bitter experiences in the past had been resolved. Bringing you more stories, Nigeria's electoral body, that is the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is the INEC, has again raised concerns that the general election faces serious threats of cancellation and postponement if security challenges across parts of the country fails to improve. The INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, who expressed concerns, also warned that the cancellation or postponement of elections due to insecurity in some areas would not only hinder the declaration of elections results, but also precipitate constitutional crisis. He stated this at the validation of election security training resources in Abuja on Monday. Yakubu, who was represented by the chairman, Board of Electoral Institutes, that is BEI, Abdullahi Abdul Zuru, said by working with the National Security Advisor, that is the NSA, Babagana Munguno, he was optimistic that a more conducive environment would be provided for successful conduct of the 2023 general elections. Similarly, Saad Idris, Director General of the Electoral Institute, assured newsmen of the Commission's readiness.
They will already be introduced to election security, election process and procedures, so that by the time we are doing the 3D security training for elections, they are already familiar with all the processes, with all the responsibilities, with what they are supposed to do, with expectations of their role and responsibilities of election day, which is by and large protecting our own INEC staff, protecting the election materials, protecting the voters themselves.
In a goodwill message, the International Foundation for Electoral Systems, that is the IFES country director of IFES, Sarai Jah, said the training of security personnel to be deployed for the poll remained the antidote for peaceful elections. And now bringing you yet another story, the president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongbam Mensem, has warned members of the election petition tribunals not to be used as tools to destabilize and discredit the 2023 general election. Justice Dongbam Mensem gave the warning on Monday at a capacity-building workshop for secretaries and other support staff of the election petitions tribunals, that is the EPT. She said the theme of the workshop emerged from a pensive analysis of past experiences. She said the court will not hesitate to deal with anyone found wanton in an attempt to put the judiciary into disrepute, adding that the Court of Appeal is constitutionally empowered to establish election petition tribunals and have the registries opened at least 7 days before the election.
deliberate that the registrars, the secretaries come from the Court of Appeal so that you know that you are on an assignment and you're being closely watched by your parent organization, which is the Court of Appeal. So there is no room for adventurous misadventures. Fill yourself with information in these documents so that no one will come and confuse you in the registry. When they come, when you educate yourself and you equip yourself with proper information, with good information, and in this process, there are information that are supported by law. So you don't allow anybody to mislead you.
INEC Federal Commissioner May Agbamuche, the commission said the commission is prepared for the task ahead.
You are indeed ambassadors to the Court of Appeal, and you owe a duty to the court to put up your best foot forward at all times. It is of utmost importance, therefore, that you pay close attention to the enabling laws which empower you in the performance.
Justice Dongba Mensem said the training was clearly in anticipation of the general election coming up in a few weeks' time. To a disturbing story, gunmen who abducted 31 adult train passengers on Saturday have allegedly demanded 620 million naira ransom for their release. Journalists gathered on Monday that the criminals had presented their demands to the families of the abductees. The executive director, Eson Youth for Good Governance and Social Justice, that is the EYGGSJ, Benson Odia, disclosed that the kidnappers were demanding 20 million naira for each victim. Speaking with newsmen, Odia said demand was outrageous, calling on the authorities to intensify efforts in rescuing the 31 hostages in the custody of the kidnappers. He also said that the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, and the Managing Director, Nigeria Railway Corporation, that is the NRC, Fidel Okiria, were at Igorben to assess the situation. Odia said the authorities promised to deploy helicopters on Tuesday to locate where the victims were kept in the bush. The Edo State Police spokesman Chidi Nwabuzo could not confirm the veracity of the claim. However, the Edo State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehikare, disclosed that 6 victims had been rescued, adding that efforts were ongoing to rescue the remaining 26 victims. And now let's move away from that story now and take you to other parts of West Africa where former President John Mahama has asked Nana Akufo-Addo to end his penchant for clearing his appointees and his close associates said to have been involved in illegal activities. According to him, President Akufo-Addo has assumed a dishonorable badge. The clearing agent, he said the behavior of the president is untoward and thus advised him to desist. The presumptive flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, that is the NDC, in a media post on Tuesday said the forum at which President Akufo-Addo defended Akontab mining is shocking. President Akufo-Addo, speaking at the 28th National and 16th Biennial Congress of the National Union of Ghana Catholic Diocesan Priests Association in Koforidua, cleared the mining firm of any wrongdoing. According to the president, the firm is not engaged in any illegality presently, but this has generated widespread criticism for the president. Some Ghanaians have already said the president's defense could temper with investigation into the company's activities. And now let's take you away from Ghana and move you to Senegal. Having you know, the Senegalese government announced on Tuesday new measures to fight against road insecurity, including a ban on night bus trips and the import of second-hand tires after an accident that killed 39 people on Sunday. Public passenger transport vehicles will be banned from traveling on inter-urban roads between 2300 and 0500, announced by Prime Minister Amadou Ba at the end of a government meeting in the new town of Diamniadio near Dakar. In a related development, it was announced at the meeting other measures prohibiting the importation of second-hand tires and making mandatory the sealing of speedometers of vehicles transporting people and goods at 90 kilometers per hour, while others will be issued within 72 hours to enforce the 23 new measures announced. President Macky Sall, who visited the scene of the accident the same day, declared 3 days of national mourning starting Monday. Road accidents officially kill 700 people every year in Senegal, a West African country of more than 17 million inhabitants. The new measures are announced after the collision between the two buses that killed 39 people and injured 101 in the village of Sikilo in the Kaffrine region center, some 250 kilometers from Dakar. And now let's quickly take a walk away from that one and take you to other parts of Africa, having you know that in Kenya, 5 suspects appeared in court on Monday, accused of involvement in the death of a prominent LGBTQ campaigner. The body of Edwin Kiprotich Kipruto, popularly known as Edwin Chiloba, 25, was found last week stuffed in a metal box on a roadside in western Kenya. According to Kenya's National Commission on Human Rights, Chiloba's death followed the unsolved murders of several other rights advocates for sexual minorities. According to newsmen, it was also reported that in Kenya, homosexuality remains a crime with penalties that include imprisonment of up to 14 years. And now to Gabon. Gabon's President Ali Bongo Ondimba on Monday, January 9, named the country's first female vice president. Findings showed that Rose Christian Osoka Raponda served until his nomination as prime minister. The 59-year-old is a former mayor of the capital Libreville and Minister of Defense and fills an office that has been vacant since 2019, making history for a second time. In July 2020, she became the country's first female prime minister. The VP's role is to assist the head of state, and the person serving as vice president has no interim role in the event of a power vacuum, as Alain Claude Delibaze is now the new premier. The president named a politician who has since 2007 held several ministerial portfolios. He is now in talks with forming a new government. According to reports, Gabon is one of the African countries gearing up towards presidential elections this year. In August, millions of voters will head to the polls. The ruling party, the Gabonese Democratic Party, that is the PDG, held a Congress late last year, which calls for the head of state to seek a third term. And now let's quickly go away from this one now. Coming right up next on Africa Today is Business News. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Business Desk on Africa Today. Hills TV has this one. And on business, over 20 deposit money banks, that is DMBs, on Monday began the implementation of the Central Bank of Nigeria, that is the CBN's new cash withdrawal limit policy across the country, with bank customers expressing anger over the new rule. The governor of the CBN, Godwin Emefiele, had on December 21, 2022, bowed to pressure and revised the bank's earlier cash withdrawal limits. The CBN reviewed upwards the maximum of weekly limits for cash withdrawals across all channels by individuals and corporate organizations to 500,000 naira and 5 million naira respectively. The CBN attributed the developments to the feedback it got from stakeholders. For transactions above the withdrawal limits, financial institutions are required to get details of the customers and upload the same on the CBN portal created for the purpose. In the earlier circular it issued on December 6, 2022, the CBN had said that with effect from January 9, 2023, the maximum over-the-counter cash withdrawal limits by individuals and corporate organizations per week would be 100,000 naira and 500,000 naira respectively. However, the reviewed cash limits, which took effect on Monday, faced severe opposition from bank customers who accused the central bank of not being sensitive to the plight of cash-based businesses. And now let's move away from this one now and bring you sports. Don't go away.
Good afternoon and welcome to Sport News on Africa Today. I am Richard Badung. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria will camp in Morocco instead of Spain ahead of the next month's Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. Findings show that a training camp for the country's youth team has become paramount because they need to acclimatize to the wintry weather conditions in Egypt. The 2023 Under-20 AFCON will be played in Egypt between February 19 and March 11, with the top 4 teams qualifying for the Under-20 World Cup in Indonesia in May. A team official who spoke on condition of anonymity said the team will train in Morocco, which has similar weather with Egypt, which at the moment is very cold, and the team needs to get used to this in time of the tournament. The official reported that the logistical challenges like getting visas into Spain for a large contingent and record time also worked against the Flying Eagles preparing there. The Flying Eagles are expected to depart for Morocco at the end of the month after coach Ladan Bosso would have submitted his final 21-man squad to the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, latest January 20 for the tournament. 72 days after beating Germany to finish third at the Under-17 Women's World Cup in India, players and officials of the Flamingos are yet to receive their allowances and match bonuses, with some of the players telling the media they virtually went begging for money to celebrate the Yuletide. News correspondents learned that while their camping allowances from January 6 to June 5, 2022 has been paid, the team's bonuses for qualifying matches as they played against Congo, Egypt and Ethiopia were yet to be paid. The World Cup bonuses for the matches against Chile, New Zealand, USA and Germany had also not been paid to officials and players of the Flamingos. One of the players who spoke on condition of anonymity for fear of being victimized said she and her teammates begged for money to celebrate Christmas and New Year festive periods. Meanwhile, another Flamingo player added that the celebration period was difficult because aside from the camp bonuses that were paid, the players are yet to receive other bonuses. And that's Sport News on Africa Today. Back to Udrak Daniel for the rest of the news. I am Richard Badung.
Many thanks, Richard Badung, for that one on sports. Looking forward to more sports stories, though. Anyways, this is how we call it a close for Africa Today. Before we go, a quick look at our top stories. We told you Court Appeal holds a workshop for Election Petition Tribunal. We also told you Senegal banned night buses after deadly accident. We brought to the fore the fact that Gabon names first ever female VP. And on sports, Flying Eagles camp in Morocco for Under-20 AFCON tournament. Remember to visit us on Facebook, Instagram and our YouTube channel, all at Hills TV. I am Uduak Daniel. Thank you for watching.